Well, the Masters is right around the corner, so who better to talk about it with than the man who won the 2003 Green Jacket Golf Town Ambassador, Mike Weir. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Morning, Hugh. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Always great to catch up with you, especially this time of year. So, how's the game? How you feeling heading in?
Yeah, it's coming around. Shaking off the skiing rust, I guess, so to speak. Winter rust. Kind of rounding into form here a little bit and starting to play some tournaments in a row. We were in Newport last week. We're here in Palm Desert this week, and nice to get a couple tournaments under my belt in a row before Augusta.
Yeah, it's a tournament like no other for you. Maybe talk a little bit about how you prepare a little bit differently for Augusta than you would for any other tournament out there.
I would say off the top of my head, there's a couple of things. I mean, tee shots for me, there's a lot of right to left tee shots. So leading up to Augusta, I work on trying to fade the ball off the tee quite a bit. And then you have to putt quite a bit differently at Augusta. There's so much slope on the greens, and with the green speeds, the putt has to go in with like a perfect speed to make putts there. So, I kind of picked that up from Ben Crenshaw, where you just kind of want to drip the ball into the front edge. So you're doing a bunch of lag putting and just trying to get that exact speed where the ball is just kind of falling in. You don't really do that and really anywhere else that I play on tour. I feel like with the speed of those greens, maybe Muirfield Village, the Memorial Tournament, Jack's tournament, is you kind of have to putt those greens like that. But Augusta is very much like that. You can hit a really great putt, and if it just has a little bit too much speed and catches the edge, they always seem to spin out. So you got to get the speed right.
Yeah, really, really tough greens at Augusta for sure. So Golf Town is your official custom fitter, and you'll be spending some time with our Director of Instruction, Kyle Gordon, throughout the season. He'll be working to get you dialed in exactly the way you want. And knowing that you are a little bit of an equipment tinkerer, in terms of preparing your bag, what adjustments are you making for Augusta coming up?
Yeah, I think, with Kyle, I think talking about, for me, I have a lot of longer shots in there. So maybe taking the extra wedge that I use on the Champions Tour, because we hit a few more wedges into the greens on the Champions Tour. Augusta, not so much, not so many wedges, a lot of long clubs. So probably taking out my 50-degree wedge, adding an extra hybrid to fill a gap between the 5 and a 3 iron, something, a 22-degree, maybe even a 7 wood. So I'll be tinkering here the next couple of weeks, finding that right, I guess, mix through the upper end of the bag to get ready for Augusta.
Yeah, you stole my next question. I was going to ask you about more and more tour pros are playing 7 woods and 9 woods, and you've bought into that, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I regularly on the Champions Tour, not so much, but for Augusta, yeah, for sure. There's some value in there and being able to hit something high, from that 210 to 230 yard range, to be able to get something to stop on the greens around a place like Augusta. And apparently, it's been playing very firm. They just had their big member tournament out there, and I guess the course is playing fast and firm. So to be able to get the height on the ball. A lot of the tour players who have a lot of speed, they can create more spin, get a little more spin on the ball. I don't really have that, so I have to use altitude. So I need those high shots coming into the greens to stop them there at Augusta.
Yeah, let's go through your bag a little bit, from top to bottom. What are you using right now? What's your current setup?
Yeah, so starting with the driver, I'm using Cobra Dark Speed. In fact, all the way through, all my woods are Cobra. Driver, 3 wood, fiber. The hybrids I'm using are all different Cobras. And like I said, we'll be mixing in either a Cobra 7 wood or hybrid, or a couple of different hybrid. I'll have at least one hybrid and maybe two. And then I'm still using the irons that Kyle fit me in towards last year, the 150 Titleist irons, 5 iron through 9 iron, and then pitching wedge through, pitching wedge 50-degree, 53-degree, 59-degree are all Vokey, SM9, SM10. I got an SM10 54. And like I said, I'll likely drop the 50-degree for Augusta and put that other hybrid in. Putters is week to week. I've been I've been trying to find that right mix. I used a lab putter last week. I've been using my Scotty Cameron quite a bit as well. trying to find that right mix. I haven't been putting the greatest. That's been the thing that's been holding me back. So I'm trying to get that figured out. I'm going out here to do some work on it shortly to find what I'm going to use.
Yeah, it's such a personal thing, isn't it? And I remember you sort of discovering the lab putter when you were visiting a
Yeah,
golf town with Kyle and I. Yeah.
that's right. Exactly. I was hitting that in the lab there in a rain delay at the Canadian before the Canadian Open. I spent a couple hours over there, and it felt good, felt stable. That force directed
Yeah.
um, uh, method. There's a lot less twist, and I think that was serving me well for a time, and kind of back to it right now.
Yeah, when you're testing out different putters, whether they be Lab or Scotties or Odysseys or whatever you're using, what are you looking for specifically in terms of feel?
I like more of a softer feel. I also like that, if I just putt like on a ruler, or if I get a straight putt and put two tees as a little gate, that my start line, that I can get the ball started where I'm looking. And then I start with a straight one, and then I start with some breaking putts. And if it's two cups out left or two cups out right, am I able to start that ball on line? If it seems to be veering offline, if I have three putters that I'm testing, there's always one that seems to get the start line maybe a little bit better. So I always kind of look at that. And then I'll work to some longer putts. It's my speed control on, 30, 40, 50 footers. Is that good? Am I able to control my long putts? And again, I want to find that right mix of having a good feel, good touch at Augusta, because that speed is so important. So that's what I'm looking for right now. And that's why I'm experimenting a little bit to get that right feel.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about lag putting and maybe Augusta, that's more important than anywhere else on tour, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Yeah, because you know where they put the pins, and as slopey as the greens are, and as precise as you have to be, you can hit a beautiful shot in. If it's a couple yards off and it catches a slope, you could be looking at 10 feet if you catch the right little slot. If not, you could be 50, 60 feet. So you got to have a lot of lag putting up and over. Inevitably, you're not going to hit those always to tap in. You're going to leave yourself some 4 or 5 footers, and that's the year I won, I made a majority of those little comebackers, which you have there. So yeah, you want to get that distance control dialed in for sure.
You made a lot of those putts. I love going back and just watching how good you were with the flat stick throughout that tournament. Amazing. You know what? And if all else fails, you could always just pull out the clubs from 2003, right, and use those again. Why not?
Well, I've messed around with those just to see what the difference in speaking of technology. And it's amazing the difference. Let's say a 5 iron, I'll hit in my sim in my basement. I actually did that as I was cleaning out my garage just a couple of weeks ago. I took them downstairs, and I was hitting some of those clubs, and it might go, let's say a 5 iron went 187 yards, and today's 5 iron goes 197 yards. It's quite a big difference on, and I know the lofts change and everything, but the launch angle and everything changes. So today's technology is much better.
Yeah, technology works, is what you're saying, Mike. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All right, so we've talked about the
Yeah.
nitty gritty of your clubs. So we got a kind of a peek behind the curtain in terms of that. Let's switch gears a little bit and get a peek behind the curtain of Augusta National itself. You know it very well, obviously. It's one of the cathedrals of golf. We all know that. It's hallowed ground for everybody, players and patrons alike. It's a place we hear so much about. So I'd like to ask you some of the hard-hitting questions that people have on their minds, if you don't mind, and maybe you can give us a little insight into what it's really like at Augusta. You good with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear them.
All right, Mike. First of all, the question that's burning in everyone's mind. There's a rumor out there that CBS pumps in fake bird noises throughout the tournament. First of all, true or false? And have you ever seen a bird at Augusta National?
Yeah. Yes, I have seen birds at Augusta National, and I've heard that rumor too. I don't think they're piping any sounds in there. Like, I don't have any evidence of it, but I don't think they're piping bird sounds in.
You don't see a lot of squirrels out on the course either, though, do you?
I have to tell you the truth. I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention. I've seen a snake,
Oh yeah,
you in a practice round, but during the tournament, never seen one.
like a
In
like a
fact, when yeah, they have some water moccasins there, but
oh
apparently they do have a snake catcher that that goes and tries to catch them all before the tournament starts and get them out of there. I did see an awesome bird there. This reminds me, maybe 10 years ago or so, the 12th hole at Augusta, in the bridge going across this
Yeah.
Hogan's Bridge. And I was walking off the 11th green up to the 12th tee, and I heard the crowd kind of oohing and on. I didn't know what was going on, and there was this beautiful hawk flying around. Of course, Hogan's nickname is the Hawk. This hawk was flying around by the 12th green, and he went and landed right on the bridge. And it was like kind of surreal, right? You know, the bridge is named after Hogan. His nickname's the Hawk, and this big hawk lands right on the bridge. I thought it was amazing.
Couldn't have scripted that up any better, right?
Oh,
So
oh,
Scotty
really good.
Scheffler has released his champions menu, which includes cheeseburger sliders, Texas style chili and steak. Fantastic. Not including your champions dinner, which elk, boar, Arctic char were on the menu for you. What was your favorite dinner?
Boy, there's been some good, really good ones. I think what comes to mind is because it's fairly recent was Hideki's. Um, I love sushi. I mean, he had some great steak. He had I think like a some type of sea bass as well. His food was amazing. They had these Japanese sushi chefs up on the balcony serving all this sashimi and great sushi, and the main meal was awesome. So that was a memorable one.
Yeah, you're not the first player I've heard mention Hideki Matsuyama as their favorite. Is it true that the champion
Yeah,
paid for the dinner?
that's true.
Uh,
Yep,
how much did yours set you back? It's
yep.
okay, you can tell me.
It's a big bill. It's a big bill.
I'll
It's a big
bet.
bill.
I'll
It's
bet it is.
yeah, it
Um,
was yeah,
it was up there.
expensive,
It
but
was up
worth
there.
it. Well
Uh,
worth it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Masters concessions are always a big hit with the patrons and players alike. Ridiculously low prices, like $1.50 for a sandwich. It's unbelievable. So my question to you is pimento cheese or egg salad? What's your go-to?
Uh, Egg salad.
Okay.
Not a big pimento guy.
Now,
I'm not,
I,
you know, I just don't like the flavor of it. Yeah.
yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure what a pimento is, so I'd stick with the egg
Yeah.
salad too.
Yeah. Yep.
As a past champion, are you now a member of Augusta National and can you play anytime you want?
I am not a member.
Really?
Past champions are not members. The only player that is a member there is Jack Nicklaus, and Arnold Palmer was as well.
Yeah,
But Jack Nicklaus is the only Masters champion that is a member.
really?
Um, and we are allowed to go play the course, you know, in preparation.
Yeah.
Just like any player that's in the current year's event is allowed to go play, but we're not allowed to bring guests unless we're
Oh,
playing with an actual member. So sorry, buddy.
yeah, that's gonna
We
be my next question. I'm not doing anything like a couple weeks after the Masters if you and I want to go out, but okay. It's understandable. It's understandable. Is it true you can only use white teas at Augusta?
No, I've never heard that one.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know.
Do me a favor when you go to tee it up on Thursday, use like a red tea or something. See what they say.
Yeah, okay. Let's see.
Other than the green jacket itself and the trophy, of course, what's your favorite piece of Masters memorabilia?
Hmm. They uh Augusta National gifted us, you know, when Eisenhower Tree they had that big freeze, and Eisenhower Tree died, and you know, going back several years now. They when they took the tree down, they gave us a piece of the tree as like a memorabilia, almost like in a trophy. So it's a little piece of the tree. That is really cool. Um, Also, there was a great honorary thing when Mr. Palmer passed away, almost like a dish with
Yeah.
Arnold's iconic, you know, fist pump kind of in there, and in memory of Arnold. And I have that in my trophy case. That's really memorable.
Yeah, that is really cool. Really nice. Speaking of trees, leads me into my next question. Perfect. Like we wrote it up. There is a single palm tree at Augusta National. Do you know where it is?
Yeah, right of number 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Par three, fourth.
Yep.
Right side near the front bunker, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Very good. True or false? Running is not allowed at Augusta National.
It's true. No running.
No running, unless you're a player, right?
Well, yeah, I don't think, yeah. Hopefully you're not running to the tee because you're late or something, but yeah, I don't think they don't want any running out there.
No running for the patrons or the
And
players.
no lay or laying down. Like you can't, if you're hot and you want to sit under a tree, no sitting down.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yep.
Players are given a courtesy car during Masters Week. What was your favorite to drive?
It's the same. Mercedes has been, I think the host or sponsor of the cars for the players. So
Okay.
they're for the last number of years that I can remember, it's been the same car. It's like a Mercedes SUV. Yeah, they're
Oh,
great.
I thought you were going to say like a G-Wagon
Yep.
or something. That'd be pretty cool. To
Yeah,
roll
that'd be
down
fun.
Magnolia Lane in a G-Wagon, that'd be okay.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Do you have to leave your green jacket at Augusta?
You do.
Okay.
Yes, stays in your locker, and when you're on site, for dinners and such things, you can put it on, but it stays at Augusta.
Nice. So they don't give you like a replica jacket to take home with you. Like they only have the real jacket and it stays at Augusta.
Yeah, I mean the champion of the year gets to take the jacket home. So you see, various pictures of guys that, back in the day on Letterman or on certain talk shows or something with their green jacket on. But when you go back to host the dinner the next year, when the dinner is over, Mr. Weir, can I see your jacket in the locker? That's it. So for the first year you do, you're allowed to take it off site, but after that, you can't.
Okay. Here's one for you. If I were to say the words to you, green number 38, what would that mean to you?
Green number 38.
Hmm. I did a lot of research for this, Mike. I'm not going to
Wow.
lie to you. I dug deep.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You got stumped me on that one.
Apparently, it's the green that's right near the maintenance shed. It's behind the hedges of the second tee box, and apparently,
Oh
like a
wow.
lot of the testing goes on there. Yeah,
I didn't know there was a green. Now in the practice rounds, I'm going to have to take a look.
there you go. There you go. And tell me, get back to me and tell me what goes on there. I have a feeling it's kind of like Area 51, Green 38.
Yeah, that's got to be really close to Washington Road. I didn't even know there was space back there for a green. Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll take a look.
All right. And final question of these hard-hitting questions. You're a wine guy, obviously. Have you ever been in Augusta's secret wine cellar?
Yeah, yeah, I've been down there, and
Oh,
I don't know how secret it is. It
yeah.
is. It's like they. I guess because it's down below, and you don't just kind of walk past it. You have
Yeah.
to, ask to go see it, and they're very accommodating if you want to go see it. And if you're there with some people, you can, they're happy to show you around and all the different, bottles, and they've got some great stuff down there. Again, that Eisenhower tree, they've made this beautiful table out of Eisenhower tree that's down there. That's incredible. And yeah, they've got some great wines down there for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Mike,
Yeah.
thank you for giving us a peek into kind of some of the questions a lot of people have about Augusta National. It's such a magical place, and nobody knows that more
Yes.
than you do. So best of luck at Augusta
Thank
National
you.
this year, and we will catch up with you throughout the season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Me too, Hugh. That was fun.